Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Back to the TARDIS podcast, the podcast where we take a look at every single episode of the 2005 revival of BBC's Doctor Who. I'm Jeff.
Hi, I'm Skyler.
And it's ya bitch, the Panther Girl Celeste.
And this week we are discussing the 2009 Christmas special and 2010 Easter special, The End of Time Parts 1 and 2, which is the final episode of this show to be written by our boy, our lad, our man, our king, the based king, the man, the dude, Welsh showrunner Russell T Davies.
Gone but never forgotten.
Never forgotten. It's also actually, it is the first serial or story to be like a multi-part story actually referred to as Part 1 and Part 2 since the show ended in 89, I think. Maybe I can't remember if Dimensions in Time was two
what
parts.
did they call the other one?
So, well, no, because, so, for example, we had Remembrance of the Daleks, and you just had Remembrance of the Daleks Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They did have individual episode titles, like, back in, like, the first Doctor era, but they stopped doing that as it went on, and the majority of Classic just had the, like, title of story, Part 1, Part 2, etc.
Yeah, what was the first part originally going to be called? It was going to be like The Last Days on Planet Earth, and then Part 2 would have been called The End of Time.
Maybe.
I think. I don't know.
Read
your wiki, kids. Eat your vegetables, read the wiki.
Yeah. Also, this is the final appearance. Well, actually, no, it's not the final appearance of David Tennant as the Doctor, but it is the final episode where David Tennant is the incumbent Doctor. And this was kind of a new thing for the show where, like, from what I understand, there were, like, changeovers, obviously, in, like, writing staff and directors and stuff behind the scenes, but this was kind of a case where, like, after this episode, a lot of the crew changed for Series 10. And, like, obviously, like, there were some people who stayed over. Like, obviously, Moffat had worked on RTD stuff before, and some of the writing team was the same, and Murray Gold was still the composer. But it was something a lot different where, like, Classic, you can kind of tell, like, there's a consistency with Classic. Like, outside of, like, maybe them getting, like, new cameras and stuff as technology improves, there isn't really, like, a noticeable difference visually and aesthetically in, like, a change of, like, head writer / producer, outside of, like, maybe John Nathan Turner coming in and putting question marks on everything. But, like, yeah, like,
Just
you
going
like,
full Riddler on that shit.
oh man, yeah. But, like, I spoiler alert, I have already watched the 11th Hour. There is a noticeable aesthetic difference.
Oh, yeah.
In, like, how it looks and, like, the quality of the lighting and everything and the saturation of the colors it's completely different. It looks like a completely different show.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's like one of the things that's always very noticeable because you have, like, such a big split visually between RTD and Moffat Who.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, literally, it is just
There is a big difference between Moffat Who and Chibnall Who. The problem is that Chibnall Who is using lenses that they don't know how the fuck to use. and just
okay.
looks like
you could just say the difference is that Chibnall Who looks like shit.
I can't. Well, okay. It's not like. Okay, it's not visually worse. It is in some cases aesthetically worse, however.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, visually it looks very nice, but it's very flat visually.
Yeah, and it's like it's very much kind of unnecessary where, like, you can tell, like, definitely, like, Moffat era is going for, like, a different, like, more vivid look, but, like, I think at that point they didn't really need to do anything else. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
said like Waters of Mars is one of the best looking episodes of Doctor Who, and I stand by that, and I still think it's the best looking RTD episode. But after watching 11th Hour, it's like, oh, that's right.
Yeah, Moffat era is when the show looks my favorite. It's also like when I started watching the show, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, as a bonus side effect of this, kind of changing in the guard, Doctor Who, we get some 10th Doctor HD episodes, and with that comes HD Wilf,
Yes.
which
As
I am
God
a fan
intended. Yeah,
Amen.
shout-outs to the little reindeer antler hat he has. That's great. That's
Oh
my
my
favorite.
God,
That's my
yes.
favorite. That's my favorite Wolf costume. Anyways, so yeah, we open with this dramatic narration from someone who we don't know is Rassilon yet, but we eventually find out is Rassilon.
Timothy Dalton.
Timothy
Dalton just walked into the studio and said, "I'm going to say some
Have
stuff."
you guys ever seen Hot Fuzz? Because
Yes.
this is the first. This is the first time I have watched this episode since seeing Hot Fuzz for the first time.
Wait,
and now
is
whenever
is that what the Rassilon actor is? I knew I recognized him.
yeah,
Was he from
and now
Hot Fuzz?
whenever I see
Oh my
Timothy
God.
Dalton, all I can think of is the one shot where it's like Timothy Dalton's character in Hot Fuzz like making a smile, and you see above him there is a portrait of him in the exact same pose and expression. That's like the best shot in that movie.
Okay, yeah, no, literally, I was watching the episode and I was like, God, this actor seems so familiar. I know
Yeah.
him from somewhere, but I couldn't place where. And now that you've told me it's Hot Fuzz,
He also played James Bond, but Hot Fuzz is a better movie than pretty much every single James Bond movie that has ever
and
come out.
I've also actually seen Hot Fuzz, and I haven't really seen James Bond. So.
Probably,
Yeah.
probably better than all of the Timothy Dalton Bond movies. At the
Wait,
very least.
was he? Hold on. Goldeneye was Pierce? Yeah, okay. Goldeneye was Pierce Brosnan. Never mind.
Yeah.
That movie's okay. It is actually like kind of decent in a stupid way, but yeah. Okay. So yeah. We straight up start with Wilf going into a church and seeing like the TARDIS in a stained glass window. So RTD. I said this to Skyler before Celeste came in here, but this episode I really can't see RTD Who ending any other way. Like, it is big stupid RTD finale shit.
Yes. The difference is, I think it works in this one.
Yeah. No,
And the
that's
Christ imagery gets worse from here.
yeah. Oh
It
yeah,
never
no,
gets
definitely.
better.
I definitely like this more than I like fucking Journey's End. It makes me less mad.
Or any other story in modern New Who where the Doctor is some special person, not even touching on timeless children. It's just like it fits the epicness and like what the power and the scale of the 10th
And he
Doctor.
doesn't say who he is to win the episode.
Yeah. I'm the Doctor. Okay, we do, one thing I did notice is that we do get, I don't know if this is the first, but this is definitely one that stood out to me. We get an early example of Doctor running scene. Dramatic running. Lots of running.
No, dramatic running is a constant. That's a
No,
constant.
I feel like it's more of a thing with Moffat though.
Maybe.
Yeah, you get
I guess,
that
but
the
the fucking
over the
yeah, I am
montage.
the Doctor. Yeah, I am
Yeah.
the Doctor starts playing. Yeah,
Yeah, no. Well, because I'm talking about when he's chasing down the Master, because like
yeah.
that's like
No.
that's like a full 30 seconds of running, and I can't
Yeah.
think of another time yet we've had an extensive running scene like that, and you
Yeah.
definitely get a lot more of those with Moffat, like you know, dramatic music over the Doctor running to get someplace.
So in the church, Wilf runs into this mysterious figure who. So it's never actually directly stated who she is, but I think RTD has said that he wrote it as if it was the Doctor's mother. Thanks, Chibnall. You really fucked that one up.
Oh no.
Wait, is she now confirmed to be the fucking like
No. No, I'm just saying that the fact that the Doctor would have an actual mother.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Because I was like, did he change it to the fucking... I forget her name. The evil woman who, like, experimented on the Doctor until she could regenerate herself. It's like, is that woman? Because that would piss me off more.
That character feels weird because it's like... You could just say it's Rassilon, and it would still make sense, and it would actually make more sense than it just being this random person.
Yeah, I mean...
Because that's like Rassilon's whole thing, is being, like, an abusive mad scientist piece of shit. Who, like, totally did, like, a bunch of fucked up shit to, like, to cement the supremacy of the Time Lords.
Yeah, point being... It's kind of weird watching this in the year 2020, and we still have no idea who this fucking person is, but...
No,
again,
RTD straight up said it's the Doctor's mother.
Sure, but if we go by authorial intent, that's gonna be...
Well, no, it's not authorial intent. It is literally RTD saying this is what the character is. I just never specifically, explicitly said it on screen. Which I think is fair.
I mean, given that we only see her here, sure.
Yeah. It's definitely, like, like, it's not, like, 100% clear, but it's, like, definitely implied enough that it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
He's definitely not half human on his mother's side, then.
Yeah. Let's not get into the movie shit.
We're all going to be here long enough.
Yeah. What?
Sorry, I was just looking at Twitter.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you're aware of the human pet guy drama. If not, I will not mention it.
Okay, all right. In an March 2009 email reprinted in Doctor Who: The Writer's Tale: The Final Chapter, Russell T Davies states that he created the character as the Doctor's mother, and that is what the actress was told when she was cast. However, Davies has also acknowledged that the character could be interpreted as any trustworthy time lady like Susan Foreman, Susan's mother, or Romana. The Susan thing could be an interesting angle. Romana would be a little bit weird, I think. I think Romana, because Romana kind of has that similar, like, rebelliousness spark that the Doctor has. But Susan I could also see. The point is, it's very clear that they are, like, family, definitely, I think. And then after the credits, also it's implied that the Master is coming back. Woo, I guess. And then after the credits, the Doctor arrives on the Ood Sphere after spending the entirety of Children of Earth at the Pizza Hut, at the Taco Bell, at the combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
I'm sorry. I'm just about now imagining the Doctor. I think this would probably be best with 11th. Him and Amy stepping out of the TARDIS, and she's like, "Where are we?" And he's like, "You see, it's this fantastic place. It's the Pizza Hut. It's the Taco Bell. It's the combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell."
I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but the Children of Earth meme that I made for last week was literally, like, a shitty edit of, like, a PNG of David Tennant sliding back and forth across the screen with a picture of the combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell in the background while the song plays.
Nice.
I think 11
I feel like that would... Yeah, 11 is more those vibes where that's like something he would do just to fuck with Amy.
Yeah.
But then, of course, it turns out that the combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell is haunted by an alien ghost from the past, future, and yeah.
Yeah.
He's also gone through the 50th anniversary. He's gone through that story.
Oh yeah, that happened too. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't remember any of that, but yes, that did canonically happen there.
Man, how does the 50th work with the events of the Time Lords in this episode?
I mean,
basically
I don't
concurrently.
Yeah.
Because they say in the
Also,
50th that the special council, which is what we see here, has gathered, and the general dismisses that as like, that's already failed. We got to come up with something else. So it's like, it's hand waved away,
Yeah.
but it's basically happening at the same time.
Yeah. Also, more importantly, I think it's like it's well, I don't think I think like because it's implied like they both kind of happen in like the last days of the Time War, but yeah, I think although that doesn't necessarily explain where the Master is in the 50th, it's kind of implied to be like that's the Rassilon Gambit, and then when that fails, then
then it's the stuff with the 50th.
yeah, then War is about to unleash the moment, and instead they pocket bubble it. It's not as bad of a continuity fuck up as it's as like Timeless Child is. It's still like sort of explainable.
Mm-hmm.
I'll roll with it. I'll accept it.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I love how apparently the only thing Ten remembers from the 50th is that he hooked up with Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Like, he definitely remembers that.
Yeah.
He's just like, her nickname is no longer...
Yeah, that happened.
It's like, damn it, Ten. Stop doing this to, like, every third woman you meet. It's weird. And every third man. And every third anybody.
10 fucks.
Yeah.
And yet 11 fucks more than him.
Somehow,
11
yeah.
accidentally fucks more.
11 has the himbo
11
fuckery.
Yeah, no. 11 accidentally stumbles into fucking.
11 is married to Marilyn Monroe. You ever think about that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, they return. It's like return. The Doctor needs to go back to Earth and figure out what's going on. And we are introduced then to Joshua Naismith and his daughter, who are fucking terrible, pointless characters that are like just there.
You see,
Like-
I thought I didn't like that
like-
actor in the Supergirl show, but
Oh, is he there?
he's the father billionaire is Martian Manhunter.
Huh. I've never watched like any of the CW
It's
DC shows.
it's CW, but it's better than here. I'll say that much in terms of his
Yeah.
character, because they're literally just plot devices as characters. They're there to get
Yeah, no, it's
everyone
yeah.
in the same place.
Yeah, no, it's very much like they feel like there's like it's a weird case of RTD just completely dropping the ball on characters. And you it's noticeable because they're like sort of the main antagonistic force for the majority of the first part, and that first part is bad. Like, not much happens, and it's kind of boring. Like, my sister was like legitimately bored when we were watching it.
Like, what's his motivation? He wants his daughter to live forever,
To be immortal?
and there's also
Okay, I guess.
and there's also like an undercurrent of like they both want to fuck each other. Am I the only
Yeah,
one that
it's
got
like
that vibe?
weird. It's like weird supervillain shit mixed with like uncomfortable vibes.
Yeah. So I was just,
It's just
I don't want this in my Doctor Who.
in general, all of the side characters in this episode are just like, did RTD just run out of ideas or something? Like,
I like
what's
the
with
cactus.
the fucking? Yeah, like yeah, it's like they're barely fleshed out either. They're plot devices.
Yeah, the cactus people are like serviceable. The
actors do the best, and the lines have somewhat more character, but like they still don't have like very much in general.
And then there's the posse that Wilf gets together to find.
Oh
10,
yeah, no,
and
those
that
are the
one
best.
Woman,
Those are the best side characters in the episode.
that one woman is super horny on Maine.
Yeah, no, those side characters are the best side characters in the episode. Those are great. Those characters are awesome.
And then Donna, of course, but that's like a duh.
Donna's barely in this fucking episode.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't mind the Naismiths much. I don't know. I guess I wasn't really thinking of them as important side characters, and I guess that sort of helped. I can sort of see, I do see what you're saying, that like they're not fleshed out, but for me, I guess they were like so little fleshed out that I didn't even care that they weren't fleshed out.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it didn't really impact it for me, just personally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what's next? Okay, yeah, Wilf looking for the doctor. Oh, okay. So let's talk about the stupid, dumb bullshit, stupid, idiot, stupid bullshit that is this weird satanic ritual to resurrect the Master.
This is so dumb.
I thought the cum snake shit from the TV movie was stupid. This is fucking stupid.
Okay, I love this so much because it implies that there's humans who worship the Master because,
Well, okay, no, here's the thing. That's not the weird part, because the Master's specialty in Classic was always hypnotism. So I think it's totally possible that he just fucking, like, brainwashed these people as a contingency plan.
Okay,
Like, I can
fair.
see that happening. It's just the method of it and the fact that it is, like, portrayed as, like, this satanic ritual or whatever, like, cult shit in
It's
a
like Sister
sci-fi
of Karn
show
shit.
is so stupid.
You know what would make this make slightly more sense if the Master was the timeless child?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
could just come back through the weirdest bullshit because...
Yeah, no, that's the thing of, like, from the beginning of, like, why it makes sense that the Master be the timeless child, because they've died multiple times on screen and still have, like, lived.
Yeah, it's just weird. Sort of redemption for Lucy, if we wanted that. Thanks, RTD.
The character that already wasn't given enough, and we complained about the fact that she wasn't given enough in Series 3. It's just like, okay? Like, that entire scene, like, I was just cracking up the entire time, because it's fucking stupid.
Till death do us part, husband is a pretty good line, or whatever she says.
Yeah.
Like that was
It's
that
like,
was some
this is
action
like-
movie
yeah.
bullshit, but it was
Yeah,
great.
no, it's peak RTD camp stupid shit. And I think we can all agree that this is, like, aside from, like, the end, like, the very end, this is the worst showing from Sim Master. And I don't even think it's Sim's fault. I think it's RTD's fault.
They just dialed up every, like... I mean, I know it's, like, cliche to say, like, oh,
He's
this is when he
fucking
turns
playing
into Joker
Gollum,
Master.
dude. It's literally Gollum shit.
It's Gollum, it's Joker, it's... Boy.
No, it's Gollum. He was already, like, kind of Jokery in places. This is just Gollum.
Yeah, and just kind of, like, gross out shit, and, like...
Like, when he's talking about how fucking hungry he is, it's like, yeah, that's fucking Gollum shit, dude. Also, the fucking shit where he has lightning powers and, like, screams dinner time and, like, jumps 50 feet up into the air.
So,
It's like,
so
why?
Okay, I'm going to be a dissenting voice here. For me, it's so ridiculous that I was
No,
actually
it's not-
loving the fuck out of it. Like,
Yeah, no, it's
genuinely.
not. I don't think, like, it's entertaining, but it's fucking stupid. And it's
Okay, but that does it for
it's
me.
like, it's a little
I
bit.
love how stupid it is.
Well, no, because okay, there's RTD stupid, right? I think this is, like, for me, a little bit too far. Generally,
Exactly.
RTD stupid doesn't, like... Generally, RTD stupid is not too far. Usually, that is, like, the one case where I think it's just like, okay, dude. Cut it back a little bit. Because the thing is you're then supposed to sort of take this character seriously as the villain for the episode.
Okay,
And
Just...
again,
kind of...
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought the fucking silliness was great. I mean, I'm not gonna defend it too much, like from a rational perspective, because like I don't know, I guess like he got fucked up in his demon ritual, whatever, because she
Which
threw the
already was stupid to
spooky
begin with.
potion. She threw the spooky potion into it, and if you accept
Like,
that,
how the
then,
fuck?
like,
How the fuck? Like, they literally take like the fucking like the lipstick kiss from Lucy, and it's like, what the fuck does this? This is just straight up some magic bullshit. And we all know
Yes.
that Rassilon engineered the universe, so magic doesn't exist. I'm not
Yes.
joking. He actually did that.
Neat.
Okay, you're right, but also I thought it was fun, so fuck you.
Yeah.
That's.
No, like
I mean,
seriously,
that's ultimately what this comes down to, because as I said, like, there's very little in this finale that I like actually hate or have an actual problem with thematically, character-wise, narratively, like whatever. It's just there's so much like kind of self-celebratory, you know, not fan service, but just like weird bullshit that it's like my tolerance for it highly depends on my mood at the time, which is probably the biggest flaw, is that it's
And I will say, at the very least, at least its weird, like, masturbatory bullshit isn't as, like, unfulfilling as Moffat's, where he tried to do the same thing, but Moffat never had, like, the canon or the continuity. Also, apologies to our listeners. Sky's house is getting re-roofed right now, so there will be roofing noises.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't justify my opinion, but just some combination of the goofiness of seeing a manic golem boy skirt around and do big leaps and be a skeleton man with lightning powers. Just,
Yeah.
It was really doing it for me. I don't know. I was just like, yeah, this is great. I love this. Keep it up, RTD.
Again, I can't see this ending any other way.
I will say,
Um,
credit to Sim, he's the only master that pulls this off even slightly.
yeah. And oh, what was I gonna say? So yeah, we have this scene, and the one thing that I will say that is a good thing that I like about this episode is how kind of like, even though people complain about 10 being like super like emo or down or whatever about his regeneration, which again I think is stupid, and I will defend all of the shit of people being like, well, it's just another regeneration, and I will also defend the 15-minute long goodbye sequence at the end. I do not give a shit, but we will get there when we get there. But more importantly, like, just the tone and sort of foreboding feeling of like ending and impending doom that you get, especially in these scenes when he's just talking with Wilf in the first episode. Those are genuinely good. And in general, like, Bernard Cribbins, like, I don't know if he full carries this episode, but he's definitely one of the pallbearers of the coffin.
Good,
Yeah, he
good
is
phrase.
Doing the little
very
dance.
strong. He is very strong in both of these episodes, and you know, I absolutely agree. I think an important thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about why 10 is like so much more resistant to dying than the other ones are is because he's been around like a lot shorter time compared
Yeah,
to...
no, that is my thing of like, number one, he's only been around for like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like, those 4 years have been filled with trauma and bullshit.
Yeah. 10 is almost certainly the shortest lived incarnation of the Doctor.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because, like, it is basically 100% confirmed that he only is around for that short period, whereas 9 has that whole 100-year period or whatever where he's when he dematerializes in Rose. There's like a long time passes then. And of course, maybe there's stuff slightly before Rose where, you know, you don't really know how long he's been alive for before Rose starts.
Yeah,
But like there's
11.
periods there. Yeah, 11 and 12 both live for centuries, most of the other doctors have plenty of gaps where you can fit stuff in, and even then the old show didn't have continuity in this nearly as much, in the sense of like a season is a year's worth of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
10 is pretty much the shortest lived incarnation.
For sure. And I mean, like,
and he also knew that the end of his cycle was coming too. Like, he knew that the next one was going to be the last one, as far as he knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he'd
Which
already
admittedly was partially his
once.
fault, because he was being a bitch, but you know.
Yeah, because he regenerated back into himself once, and just, yeah, there's a lot going on there. I mean, okay, like, the thing is, the last time I watched Doctor Who, I don't remember when it was, but I definitely didn't appreciate quite as much just how much there was to Ten's arc, because, we're really getting to the end here, and it's basically like, he comes off of Nine's cynicism and is like sort of, really hopeful about turning things around, and like, Nine was able to like do the cool shit with the hot girl and like be chill and like chill out towards the end. So like maybe I can just be chill, be a bit more humane and shit. And then he just gets punched over and over and over again.
And just becomes an arrogant son of a bitch.
Yeah,
until someone pulls him out on it, and he's like, oh no.
Yeah, because he keeps trying to do things the human way, and it just keeps blowing up in his face, and slowly you sort of see him shift towards the more cold, detached Time Lord way, sort of slipping back into his like pre-Time War sort of stuff. And just by the end, you can see he's just regretting all of it, because he's just realizing, like, I really failed at what I was trying to do with this life. And there's sort of the thing you can say, like, oh, well, it's just moving on, you're not really dying, but he puts it very well, like, regeneration isn't just just shifting, it is dying.
And it's like, it's also the thing of, like, yes, none of the other doctors particularly expressed that outlook, but none of the doctors were as distinctly human adjacent as 10.
Exactly. Yeah.
10 is a deliberate case of him humanizing himself and getting burned.
I started
and so
out this
he kind
podcast.
of, there's a detachment. Like, it's noticeable even, actually, I think, in the 11th hour, because Amy like literally asks him, like, hey, why are you asking me along? And he gives a very non-committal answer. It's just kind of like, just because. And you very much get the sense that, like, while he's still being like much more like personable and approachable, partly because he's used to, because he started essentially playing off of a 10-year-old kid, he's still somewhat holding at arm's length.
Exactly. When I started out this podcast, I was kind of like a David Tennant naysayer. I was just like, I don't like how his arc ends. But after going through it, one of the things I can't complain about this finale is how Ten's character is largely used, particularly with his scenes with Wilf, are just great. And it's going to be interesting transitioning from, like, literally the transitioning from 10 to 11 and seeing how 11 still has those, it was still burned that way, but he deals with it in a much more
differently,
in some ways probably a much more helpful way, but also kind of more damaging in the long run, which we see. But
definitely
not a complaint of this episode is how 10 is confronting his whole arc, and how he's been running from the fact that he can't be who he wanted to be at the start of his life.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoutouts to the scene in the junkyard with 10 and the Master, which is probably the single most homoerotic scene that RTD has written for Doctor Who. Like, you can just tell that he was going all in.
Great homage to the days of filming in quarries for Doctor Who.
Yeah, yeah. It's a thematic return. The master devours an entire chicken.
He
We get
eats
the
more than a
stupid
chicken.
Oh yeah, we get the stupid Naismith shit.
Another Doctor Who
Okay.
billionaire that disappears after their story.
Yeah. Okay, I will say this is this is a case where I was just at this point some of the Naismith and the Master stuff annoyed me, but the part where he turns the entirety of the world into clones of himself is just the point of the episode where I was like, fuck it, whatever, man. You do you. It's it's this absurd escalation. I comment that RTD finales get bigger and stupider until they can't get any bigger and stupider. And this is it. This is the point where he couldn't get any bigger and stupider than this.
The line
even
about
though it
the
feels
race.
lower key than Journey's End, it is still bigger and stupider than Journey's End.
Yeah, the whole line about the master race, and I was just like, oh, that's dumb. And then
Yeah.
the fact that they're showing Obama, and the fact that Obama is kind of a C plot.
Obama 30 let it be known that Obama is canon to Doctor Who.
What a man. But the fact that there's just oh, he's gonna fix the economy. Oi. Yeah, stay mad, Brit Bongers.
Okay, now, to be fair, this was 2009, 2010, so they didn't know what was coming.
No, yeah,
Also,
I know.
the Master deleted Obama's financial plan, which is that's why it all went downhill.
Yeah, that was the lies
That's why
the
it all
liberal
went
media
wrong.
wants you to believe. Yeah, it was just so ridiculous, and I caught myself thinking during this, which is a mistake generally. But I was like, what's his plan? Why does he want to be everyone? And then I was just like, oh yeah, it'll, fucking up the Doctor's favorite species, of course, naturally.
Yeah.
He would do that.
Yeah.
Also, the
Absolutely.
Master is arguably, I don't know if this is the correct word, but he's his most nonsensical.
Yeah, especially there's also the fucking the bad green screen to start with. And the stupid expression that he has on his face and all of that. It's just the whole thing is just hilariously stupid.
Yeah.
And it's the point where the all of the stupid shit from the Master just wears me down, and I'm just like, okay, man. Okay. So the narrator of the episode is revealed to be Rassilon, as played by Timothy Dalton. I find it weird how people both don't understand how he gets there, and B, that Rassilon is treated as a much more evil force. Big Finish was doing this years ago. Rassilon they'll just fucking bring Rassilon. He has so many ways to be brought back from the dead. Plus, he was always a bitch.
Kind of a shame that in the in Hellbent, he's just played by a guy. No offense to him, I was just like, where's Timothy Dalton? Where?
He was too expensive.
True, but also another one of my problems with that episode. Anyway, yeah, Timothy Dalton makes for a great presence, elevates the character. Is this the first
Super
time
hammy.
in modern Who where we see the updated Time Lord aesthetic?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember if there were shots of random Time Lords when when 10 was monologuing about Gallifrey in the Series 3 finale. So maybe not,
I don't
but I
think
think
so.
it is.
I don't remember there being that. I remember it was just like shots of
The
Gallifrey, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I think. Oh no, actually, we did get some because we did get the shots of the master being walked up to the rift thingy.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
Yeah, there is
and
that.
they reused those shots in this episode.
Yeah. Um, Dawn. There's the other thing of like Donna's just kind of here because Wilf is here, and it's like, oh, if Wilf is here, we have to do something with Donna, I guess. So it's like she just kind of basically like her like it's literally like, oh, what's Donna doing during all of this? Oh, getting fucking getting harassed by the master, and then she remembers everything, and that activates a failsafe that incapacitate. It's weird because like I don't know why the master just doesn't just go in and get her after that, because like she's unconscious. She's not going to do that again. And he literally is the entire planet.
Peak stupid RTD.
TD.
And peak
It's just
stupid
kinda like-
master, which sometimes often overlaps.
Yeah.
I
I do like that. I do like
Go
the
ahead.
fact, the explanation that the drum beat is the heartbeat of a Time Lord, because it's like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. I forgot that.
I also kind of liked how they kind of confirmed that they removed it after Sim, or not after Sim,
Yeah.
because we see him without the drums, but then like Dewan Master is, you know, crazy or fiction crazy.
Oh
anyway,
no, Missy
so-
doesn't have it.
I know,
Missy
but like
doesn't
that
have
makes
it.
sense because then she actually starts to grow, and then Dewan Master
Yeah.
is just back to being like ludicrously genocidal. But
Well, that's supposed to be because of the timeless child revelation, but again, the fact that it is the Doctor and not the Master really fucks it up, because it's like, okay, I don't really get why you're this pissy about this. I don't get why you'd care.
yeah, it's a whole thing. But aside from that tangent, the Master, what they do with him, aside from the Gollum stuff, I really like.
Yeah.
The whole exchange.
Well,
there's multiple exchanges, but the one where he's talking to Ten and like right after
Yeah.
the Donna thing happens, and he's just like, "Oh, you're so clever, but you're so stupid." Like, just kind of
Yeah.
explaining the difference between the two of them, and
Yeah.
that they're like neck and neck for each other in terms of like matching each other, but just because he's the
Shoutouts
Master,
to
he
10
misses
being
things.
fucking wheeled down the stairs.
Yeah, peak comedy. There's
yeah,
some good
peak comedy RTD. I will say, so the best part of the entire episode is the very last, well, not the very last, sorry. The best part of the entire episode is the scene on the spaceship where Wilf and Ten talk. Especially because of how it's partly because Bernard Cribbins and David Tennant are great, but also how they are able to kind of shift back and forth between the roles, because obviously Wilf looks physically older than 10. And 10 of course says like I'd be glad if you were my dad. But there's sort of the sense, there's the whole thing where like 10 is like trying to explain to Wilf about his like destiny or whatever.
And also the wonderful juxtaposition of like he won't pick up a gun to save Earth, but the minute he hears Gallifrey is coming back, he's just like, well, fuck. And it kind of gets all the normies up to speed who don't know any of the extended canon, or I'm sorry, I use normies, but it's okay if you're a normie, you're valid. But just if you don't know Big Finish, if you don't know classic stuff about Doctor Who, it's just like Gallifrey coming back, especially Gallifrey towards the end of the Time War, is like apocalyptic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you really get that sense when he starts talking to the Master. And he's just like, bro, you literally have no fucking idea what happened. And you just get the sense of, like, just how fucking bad it was.
Yeah. Can I
He
just
ran
say...
before it got that bad.
Yeah. Can I just say that there's a real interesting thing where, like... In New Who, it feels like the Doctors are, like, significantly hardier than like, other, like, classic stuff. Like, 10 survives a drop. Like, that drop from, like, God, that had to have been, like, 100 feet up or whatever.
Yeah,
out
I
of
was
that
thinking,
spaceship,
like, dude,
through a
what the
glass
fuck?
window, onto the floor.
Onto
11,
a marble floor.
11 survives, ages, like, literally centuries on that Christmas planet, and not to the point that he grows old, fighting off the people who are trying to invade it, and 12 gets Cyberman electrocuted, Cyberman shot, blown up, and lives.
Meanwhile,
Whereas, like, Four dies from falling off a radio tower.
Yeah. Little bit of a discrepancy there, but I honestly don't mind it. It makes sense that they're human plus, because that's basically what they are.
But yeah, no, it's like it also, you kind of see, like, his predicament and his strife about, like, his own ending, because he also, in some ways, he kind of is, I don't know if actively suicidal, but kind of looking for death, because while he's running from it, there's also the thing where he says, like, sometimes I think a Time Lord lives too long, and he talks about how he manipulated others into taking their own lives so he didn't have to do it.
Yeah, he's not holding back, and that could be because he's at the end of his life. That could also be because Gallifrey. Yeah. It could also be because we're in peak Moffat stupidity right now, because we just went through the Alon Z sequence, and now this.
Yeah, it's like, it feels kind of like a callback to 7 in places, but it also feels like a callback to what 10 was, because 10 has kind of that shift where, like, normally he's super approachable, friendly person, but when pissed off, he will go full 7. So yeah, the Time Lords get summoned, and at this point, I think, as soon as, like, actually, yeah, basically at this point in the episode, I think it's good. Like, I think it once there's that scene where 10 talks to Wilf, it is all bangers from that scene on. Like, the final scene with the Time Lords, where it's kind of like, you know that he's not going to kill anyone, but, like, him turning back and forth with the gun, like, there is generally, like, a sense of, like, oh, like, you don't actually know what he's going to do. It feels like to me.
Yeah, there was definitely a very real sense of dramatic weight.
Yeah.
100%.
And yeah, like, the ending, it's actually, I'm surprised how, like, not as much of a cop-out compared to the other RTD finales it is. Like, it's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. It's not like some weird, like, moon logic.
It's the Doctor, like, finding a third way, which is, like, what he's kind of all about in terms of the setting, without it being as stupid as
without it being as stupid as the Dr. Donna shit, or I'm just going to get the entire planet to think really hard, and then we're going to destroy the paradox machine, and that's going to fix everything. And there is that genuine, like, this is probably the best. I might even go out to say that this is, like, one of the best things that RTD has ever written in terms of the scene where he gets up off the floor and thinks, oh, okay, I'm good, I'm chill. And then Wilf knocks.
Yeah.
His
That
face
moment
just
was just-
falls.
Yeah. And you can see him, you basically see him go through all 5 stages of grief in like 3 minutes.
He really nails that performance. Like, you can tell Tennant knows, like, this is his moment to just really nail the end of that character.
It is basically almost like, it feels like like almost Shakespearean soliloquy. Or like, okay,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to make a reference that you're probably not going to like, but the part in Hamilton where right before he gets, like right as like Burr fires the gun, time freezes and he has basically his little like freestyle soliloquy.
I can see that, honestly.
I mean, fair enough.
Memes aside, it's appropriate.
Yeah, and also, like, whatever your opinion on the quality is, I think that is a genuinely good part of the show.
I mean, I have my issues with Hamilton, but I do think it's very well put together. If you ignore what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, and then how like the move to acceptance where he's just like, all right, okay, fuck it, let's get this over with.
And it's again humanity, which is the beauty of it, that like it's kind of humanity that set him on this path, but also it's humanity that set him on this path, but it's also what gets him off, because it's him realizing that he was just willing to, like,
phrasing, Skyler, no.
I know. We got problems here, Chief. But the fact that he's just like, oh, I almost let Wilf, you know, I almost said like, oh, you're not important, and it's when he sees that he's like, I almost went too far again.
I've lived too long.
Yeah, it's like it's time for someone else to.
It's in some ways it's setting up 12 similar thought of I've lived too long.
Yeah, different
and like
shades
I
of the
can't
same
do
idea,
this
but...
shit anymore. Yeah,
definitely.
Same shit, different showrunner.
Oh boy. But yeah, it's a great scene, and it makes a lot of sense that you liken it to like a Shakespearean soliloquy, given David Tennant's theatrical background and how good he is at just nailing, like making one room feel like a stage, feel like it's you know, he is owning that scene, and there's words do not do it justice. Suffice to say that it's he pulls it off spectacularly, and I couldn't have asked for a better end. And this is, we're not even at the regeneration scene, which I have my own problem of Doctor Who kind of drawing out regenerations too long and weighing and like keeping it so that their drama loses itself. But weirdly enough, I don't think Tens does that.
I don't think any of the... I mean, maybe 11's. It's been a while since I've watched Time of the Doctor, and I imagine there's probably going to be a lot of 11 dunking in the next year. But, like, I don't think either 11... I don't think 9, 10, or 12, at least, feel overly drawn out.
Yeah, I think 11 is the main culprit with how that thing is. But regardless, it doesn't feel cheap, and it doesn't feel artificially inflated. I've seen some people say, like, End of Time, this story didn't need to be 2 hours long, and in some ways I kind of agree. The pacing is clunky in the first part. It's slow to get off the ground and get interesting, at least to me. But when it gets to the end,
here's the thing.
It's earned
the pacing's
the end.
clunky. The pacing's clunky, but if it was any, like, I can't really think of any scene that could actually be cut Like, it's just the entire outline of the story of itself is clunky.
I mean, to be honest, this is getting into like real inside baseball type of stuff, but I think cutting the Ood and the prophecy and just having Ten stumble upon this apocalyptic scenario would have worked better. But I also get wanting to set up Wilf and set up Earth and do the other stuff. It's just that the beginning kind of was like, okay, you could have like rearranged this or cut this or combined this, and it would have been better. But again, like, all those complaints aside, by the time we get here, every second of screen time matters. All of it is made to count. So I get why people have that problem, but I can't say that the end isn't earned. Because it absolutely is, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, people rag on the part where there's the long drawn out sequence where Ten says goodbye to everyone. But as a fan of Kingdom Hearts, I can 100% say that as long as the emotional payoff is good, I don't give a shit how stupid it is.
Words to live by.
And that's why we read Homestuck.
So it's like, yeah.
I
Like,
mean, yeah, no, absolutely. I think
can't hate it.
so much of this story is absurd and silly, and it meanders a bit, and just a lot of it is just this sort of hodgepodge that's thrown together, and it feels like a whirlwind story, and you're just kind of like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going with it, and it's worth it. It's worth it to roll with this story, as absurd and silly and contrived as it is, because in the end, it fucking delivers, and it does it hard.
It nails the heart.
It really nails bringing it all together and making what is, I personally think I couldn't like think of a way to improve this ending for Ten's story.
Yeah.
Like, I think it ties together RTD and Ten so amazingly, and it really nails it.
Also, like, here's the thing, right? So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's a wrap up for everything, and it's sort of like, yes, obvious. It's sort of like, it feels like kind of a similar, like, it's possible to read all of the, I feel like it's possible to read all of the showrunner changes as essentially the Doctor being like, okay, it is time to move on, and basically sort of restarting his circle from scratch.
Yeah, I could see that. The
Like,
person in me who loves canon doesn't, but I can understand that.
It's like, you, like, the reader knows that, like, the viewer and Ten both know that this isn't like the end of the Doctor, and that they may meet again, but that this is kind of, he's going to start from scratch again. And yeah, I think this goodbye sequence is good, aside from the Jack one, because again, like, there's no way for me to read this without me thinking, why isn't Jack just being like, thanks, asshole?
It's a
like,
shame.
after all that, just showing up to, like, get him a hookup.
Yeah, like, I didn't remember that this scene was in here, and I was just watching it like, no, nah,
Like,
that wouldn't work.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe you get the sense of Jack being like, oh yeah, okay, he gets what I need right now. But even then, considering who the Doctor is, like, it feels really weird that Jack isn't like, dude, come on.
You checked out that indoor Sonic without me? What the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame because the scenery is kind of like, aside from the like Star Wars
It's a
Cantina
fucking Mos
callback,
Eisley ripoff.
yeah, there's a ton of callbacks to like
Yeah, it
song,
plays.
a
Yeah, it
song
plays
used in a
the
previous
song
episode.
from Daleks in Manhattan.
Yeah, there's alien cameos, some of which kind of make sense, some of which, you know, don't think about it. But aside from that, yeah, this nails. Well, I guess arguably you could say like Mickey and Martha being an item is quote unquote problematic, but that's
well, no.
something.
Here's the thing. I think the problem with that is I think that was supposed to be set up in Children of Earth or whatever Torchwood season 3 would have been, and then when that got borked, that kind of all had to happen off screen.
And then it superficially appears as like, oh, we got these two POC characters, let's just put them together.
I mean, I still think it probably would have been that in the show itself, but it would have at least felt a little bit more natural.
Yeah, it's definitely not the worst possible implementation
Also,
I could think of.
okay. No, okay. Here's the thing. On the one hand, yes, it is the two POC characters, but it's also the two characters who deserved better.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They both know what it's like to be like, oh, I like this person. Oh, whoops, that was a bad decision on my part. Yeah, and here's the cherry on top of all of this. We get a good Rose scene in the year of our Lord 2010. How about that? That's the miracle to drive it all home.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though it's mainly because it's like super bare bones, but yeah.
It's also past Rose and not current Rose,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
that helps.
And then obviously Murray Gold pulls out all the stops and everything. And we get the his regeneration, which junks the TARDIS.
Do you think
What?
the line "I don't want to go" is too far?
I honestly, again, I consider that I'm going off of Kingdom Hearts rules. If it's stupid, I don't care if the emotional payoff is still resonant. And I think it works, and especially because they did 5 takes of that line of differing levels of, like, emotiveness.
Yeah, and the one they used was like
Was a
number
middle.
3, I think.
Yeah, it was like a mid-range. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, again,
So, like...
it's one of those things
like,
where it just depends on my mood.
It's
whether
just
I think
understated enough, I think.
Yeah. I kind of take it or leave it. This time when I was watching it, I was like, okay, I buy that. But in the past, there's been some times where I'm just like, dude, like, I'm going to see you again in a few minutes. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. Mainly because it's also the thing of, like, in general, I'm just used to, like, people ragging on this episode and ragging on, like, the whole, like, prolonged ending sequence. And just, I'm sorry, I like it. It's not bad. Shut the hell your mouth.
I think it is downright good. That is my hot take.
Yeah.
Whoa there. This is the internet. You know you can't be positive on this thing, right?
And we are introduced to Matt Smith as the Doctor, which I have to say, like, this also kind of applies to Series 5, but, like, for only being, like, the Doctor for, like, basically 3 years? Yeah, 2010 to 2013. No. Wait, yeah, 2010 to 2013, because Series 8 was in 2014.
Yeah.
It feels like it's honestly kind of weird how much, like, he looks noticeably younger here than he does just 3 years later. Admittedly, it's because, like, Matt Smith is still the youngest actor to have been cast as the Doctor. Like, he was, like, 23? He was young.
Yeah. They changed up his hair and style a bit in the
Also,
last
just his face
series.
looks thicker in Series 7.
Yeah.
Or, like, his face, like, physically looks different. But, yeah.
We'll also talk about this next time, but he basically immediately nails the role, too. So
oh, yeah, definitely.
Despite the weird fuckiness that is Series 6 and Series 7, I am hyped to get to Series 5.
Yeah, no, it's very clearly, it is very clearly Series 5, Series 5, 11, which is good 11.
True.
Yeah, also, this started a tradition in Doctor Who where, the ingoing showrunner would write the first scene of the new Doctor. This has been a tradition that has maintained through Moffat's change, though Chibnall, of course, being Chibnall, basically just wrote "Oh, brilliant" and had, like, her fall out of the fucking TARDIS. So, woo, what a big splash, Chibnall.
Hey, her ring fell off.
That wasn't her ring. That's Peter Capaldi's ring. That's his fucking wedding ring.
I meant the character's ring. You know what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, no. Good stuff. I don't know. I kind of miss the... I liked the whole, like, from 9 to 10, they kind of had the face morph from 9 to 10. And then
I feel like there's a little bit of it. Maybe it's just them, like, when they did the actor swap. But I felt like it was a little bit there.
They also do it here, though they probably used a different technique from 10 to 11.
And I think it's a lot subtler, too.
Yeah, I miss that we haven't really gotten that. We got from 12 to 13, we got the eyes. We kind of got the eye shot. And then from 11 to 12, it was, like, basically a sneeze.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I miss seeing the face change. Because we kind of haven't gotten that since End of Time, but
we haven't gotten that in a point where the CGI could actually be, like, really impressive looking.
Yeah. Also, like, I get
neural network AI melding the two faces, dude.
Let's go, Elon. But sorry. But yeah, just this kind of starts off a weird trend of, like, the Doctor regenerating in the TARDIS and, like, things fucking up. I mean, I know 9 did as well, but it's like, maybe we can stop doing this. You literally almost lost your ship.
Stop blowing
13.
up your fucking... Dude, stop holding in your, stop holding in your genetic rewriting shit. It's actively, like, busting up your room.
Like, I know you want a new console. You can just change that in your settings. You don't have to buy a new fucking computer. Dude, if you shit too hard, you're gonna fuck everything up. Stop it. Accurate.
Anyways, so yeah, Matt Smith obviously is very promising. You very much kind of get a sense that from that, you very much get the sense from that scene that, like, Moffat is hitting the ground running and knows where he's going with this. Like, there's definitely, like, I think I'm gonna say, like, Peter Capaldi in Deep Breath, there's places where it feels like the writing team is still writing for Matt. And it feels kind of weird because Peter Capaldi is not Matt Smith. But here, it very much feels like, oh, yes, like, Stephen Moffat is writing for Matt. And in the sense of, like, when Matt is written good and 11 is written well, he's actually good and not just, like, 10 light. Sometimes it kind of feels like he's 10 light, which is a problem. But yeah.
Yeah, you get the difference and you get the energy. You get the hook, basically. You're just like, oh, this is the Doctor, he's new, but this is the character. Which is effective. And
yeah,
it's not saying wow and then falling out of your TARDIS, which someone else did.
Yeah. Honestly, like, Like, I feel like, yeah. Yeah. Come on, Chibnall, you could do try it a little bit harder. Um, so, yeah, I think that's about it, unless anybody has anything to say, like, ratings-wise.
I'm good.
Yeah, alright. So, yeah. So moving on to ratings. This is a weird episode, man. Like, it feels like in places it's some of RTD's best work, and in some places it feels like he's phoning it in. I would personally give episode part 1 like, oh, something more like a 5 or a 6 or like a C. Like, I think the first episode has some major problems, but I think the second episode like manages to come back from it enough that I could like pretty solidly give that an A. And in general, I'd give like the serial as a whole like a B plus A minus, somewhere in there. Like, if it was all as good as like the last, like, God, what is it, like 30 minutes, then it would be one of my favorite episodes. As it is, it's kind of a mess.
Yeah, you're pretty much right on the money there with how I also feel about it. There's a lot working well. The 10 as a character is pretty much right on the money. His interactions with Wilf and most of his interactions with the Master are also perfect. The whole kind of like Avengers Endgame wrapping everything up is also great. It's just kind of, the plot is clearly taking a back seat to like the end point of 10 regenerating and finishing up his character arc.
Yeah.
And kind of finishing off his, I guess, connection to the people who he's known since 9 or since 10, both for in-character and out-of-character reasons. The problem is, and I'd be fine with that normally, it's just RTD does not do much to make those characters interesting as well as being peak RTD camp. Like, it's just the camp and the weird, but none of the connection with a lot of that side stuff. So it makes for a kind of weak foundation, but once you get to the building, God, is it a gorgeous building. And it's gorgeous to look at and see and go inside of and understand and all of that. This is a weird analogy, and I don't know where else I can take it, but basically I concur with you. The first part is like a C plus, and the second part is like A minus material. Altogether, it's like a B or a B plus. Definitely an ending, maybe not the most worthy of 10, but it gets the job done. And it's very competent at doing so, and it's a nice, just thematic cap to the RTD era. He threw his best in, he threw his worst in, he threw all of himself into this, which, frankly, for having
for better
done all
or
of the
worse, it's RTD, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that the end product we got was this, and that he's been doing, like, basically all the other specials, at least a writing credit on all the other specials, like, that's damn impressive for him to end on this note, even if it's not the most, like, perfect, artistically sound last step.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, my turn. I think the first episode was silly and fun, and I enjoyed it. 8 out of 10. I thought the second episode was really fucking good and tied together a lot of stuff from the first episode and from across 10's arc and RTD stuff, and just really did a good job of hitting all the emotional notes it needed to and tying it all together. So 9.25 out of 10. And altogether, I would say the story was an 8.75. It was good.
Yeah. So not next week. Actually, no, wait, no, I don't want to start that yet, because When we finished Series 4, we didn't do any of the usual series or episode rankings that we usually do. And that was because with the specials, I didn't think on their own the specials were enough to, like, warrant discussion in sort of, like, in their own, like, mini bit that maybe, like, a full season would be. But and also in some cases, like, it still kind of feels like an extension of season 4, kind of in the same way, series 4, the same way that, like, the 50th anniversary special and the Christmas special in Series 7, yeah, kind of feel like an extension of that. And yeah, I was basically, I think I'd go sort of into a bit about Series 4, and about sort of episodes that you liked, and you can decide whether or not you want to include series, like, the specials as part of Series 4, or, like, do something different with them. What I was going to say, though, is that I think Series 4 is probably the best that RTD era, like, I think RTD era, like, started, like, it was getting good in it was getting good in Series 3, but Series 4 is really where it took off, and it's as consistent as Series 3. I think Donna is the best companion RTD ever wrote. The chemistry is great, the episodes are all wonderful, and aside from a really, really awful finale, as usual, I don't think... Let's see, I don't remember there being, like, any, like, genuinely, like, yeah, that wasn't that great episode in Series 4. Like, it was all really solid, I think. Yeah, looking at it, yeah. Aside from Doctor's Daughter, and even then, that wasn't, like, a bad episode. It was still really damn solid. And because of that, I think how I'd do this is I'd kind of, like, I would tie series, like, 3 and 4 in a top spot, and then put Series 1 below that, and then Series 2 below that. And then as for the specials, they definitely, like, there's a lot less to work on there, but, like, The Next Doctor was good. Planet of the Dead was okay, I guess. I don't really want to count Dreamland. And obviously Waters of Mars is one of the best episodes the show has ever come up with. So yeah, I think I would include Series 4 in the specials as a whole, and basically tie that with Series 3 as, like, the best stuff that we've talked about so far. But I still think, like, honestly, like, as a look back on the year, and of course, like, we will have been doing this podcast for about a year when we release our next episode. I think, like, my biggest reflection on the year and on the RTD era as a whole is that Series 1 is criminally underrated.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and then I think my top episodes from the season, let's say, are my top 5 from the season would be number 1, Waters of Mars, obviously. Number 2, I honestly can't decide between Midnight or Turn Left as, like, the number 2 spot. So yeah, I think that's kind of like a both. They both kind of go there. It'd be number 2, Turn Left. Number 3 would probably be Planet of the Ood. Number 4 would be Fires of Pompeii. No, actually. I'd say 4 would be Voyage of the Damned, and 5 would be The Next Doctor. God damn you, RTD. You fucking managed to make two Christmas specials that not only I liked, but both made it into my top 5 from the season. You absolute mad lad.
Nice.
All right. Who wants to do their rankings next?
Celeste can go. They seem to be intent on hammering the spot above me right now.
Yeah, okay. I mean, my top one is gonna have to be Midnight. I think Midnight might very well be my favorite episode in the show as a whole. So, yeah. And then, close behind that would be Turn Left. And then, just for similar reasons, it's just a fantastic fucking episode. Just brilliantly put together, and damn, I love Donna.
Yeah.
And then a bit behind that would be Waters of Mars. I wasn't the biggest fan of all of Waters of Mars, but I think just the stuff that happens in the last 20 or so minutes is just more than enough to really nail it together for me. Fourth, I would probably say Planet of the Ood. Admittedly, I do not have the best memory of this one.
It was honestly like one of the surprisingly like most based episodes of the show that we had watched, and it really felt like, I remember we spent a good part of an hour kind of picking apart and analyzing that in a way that I don't even think the writers intended, but was still interesting to think about.
Absolutely. Yeah, I admittedly don't have the best recollection of the first half of the season because it's kind of an amnesiac period for me. But I remember that Planet of the Ood was really good, so I'm putting it in fourth. And then fifth, it gets a little bit harder. I would either say maybe Partners in Crime or The End of Time. I can't really decide.
Do you remember any of Voyage of the Damned?
Oh, fuck, I forgot about Voyage of the Damned. Okay,
yeah.
That would be my fifth. That would be my fifth.
That episode is astonishingly good.
I forgot about it.
That is peak stupid RTD in like a good way, yeah.
True.
All right. And like what would your ranking of like series 4 in the specials be like compared to like the other seasons that we talked about?
Wait, can you repeat that?
What would your ranking of series 4 and the specials be compared to the other seasons that we have talked about this year?
I think 4 is. I think I would do it 4-1-3-2.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I can respect that. Skyler?
Okay. Hopefully this holds up. Overall, retrospective of the year, first of all, it's been a crazy year, even without the podcast, but the podcast has been a great thing. I learned that I had really underestimated Series 1. I knew it was good, but I didn't know how damn good it was. And I also, Series 2 also kind of went down on my list, even though I knew that one was inconsistent as all hell. But ranking the series that we've watched so far, it's really a toss-up between Series 4 and Series 1. Series 4 is really consistent, aside from the ending and Doctor's Daughter, and Series 1, there's, like, the Adam episode, but everything else is solid, and then...
I like The Long Game.
I like The Long Game, too, but there's also Adam. And then... So I'd probably tie Series 1 and Series 4, and then Series 3 is right below them, and then we have Series 2 at the very bottom. And even Series 2, I'm gonna predict right now that Series 6 and or Series 7 are probably going to bump up
definitely.
Series 2 a few
They're
slots.
definitely going to be worse than Series 2. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's my whole thing. The specials, Waters of Mars, obviously comes out on top. I'd probably put the next Doctor after that. I forget what's her fucking Lady Christina D'Souza. That's bottom tier, and well, I don't know.
What
maybe
would your
maybe Dreamland is bottom tier.
Yeah. So you're sort of rating the specials on their own and not as a part of Series 4?
Well, if I did that, I still think my overall series ranking would maintain the same.
Well, no, I was just saying, like, the way that Celeste and I did our top 5 episodes was we culled from both Series 4 and the specials.
Okay, sure. So Waters of Mars is on top, then Turn Left, then Midnight, then probably Voyage of the Damned, and then actually no, then Fires of Pompeii, and last is Voyage of the Damned.
I love how like pretty much our top 5 picks were, with the exception of, I think you threw in Fires of Pompeii as like a curveball, our top 5 picks were all the same episodes, just in different orders.
I mean, it's like that every season.
Yeah.
But it also goes to show the consistency. Like, there's nothing where I'm just like, well, that's obviously bottom tier, except for maybe The Doctor's Daughter. And even then, there's moments in that that seem to be good. Overall, it's a compliment to the series, to this most recent series and the specials, that largely it's so consistent that I don't think of it as like, okay, I have my top 5 and then there's the trash. It's like I have the top 5 are the ones that are good and then manage to be even better than the good.
Absolutely. Like, I think, like, looking, like, obviously it's kind of hard to compare the tenure of RTD as a whole because we haven't talked about Moffat yet, and we'll probably be at this point at the end of the year next year talking about Moffat. But in terms of, like, where we are right now, like, RTD is hella consistent, except for Series 2.
And his endings are consistently not consistent. So even there, we gotta win.
Exactly. All right. So not next week and not the week after that, but once the new year has begun, we will be back, hopefully with a brand new theme arrangement and stuff, if I can actually get off my ass and like work it out. And we will be discussing Series 5, Episode 1, The 11th Hour, which will be great because that episode is still really good. Until then, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at B2TARDISPod. You can support us on Patreon for a number of benefits like early access to episodes, the ability to listen in live to the recording, and potentially even the ability to appear on an episode of your choosing. We also have stretch goals for doing fun Hooniverse stuff that will probably make us suffer. Until then, I'm Jeff. You can find me on Twitter at WheatleyDL and on Twitch at WheatleyDLT.
I'm a nerdy lesbian that finger blasts energy bolts out of my fingers. You can find me on Twitter at skyhigh9_5.
It's Celeste the Panther, and I remember my at this time. It's at Nihilist Panther.
Yay!
Hey, last one of the year.
Homestuck. And we will see you all in the new year.